In today's video, we're going to do something just a little bit different than we usually do. So we're going to be talking about sort of the latest comments that I've had, because my channel has started to get a little bit more views now and it's starting to grow a little bit. So I just want to kind of address some of the comments that I've had in my recent videos, and then just give a life update and just sort of talk a little bit more about my personal life and what's been happening, because I haven't really talked about that so much on the channel recently, and it has been very much dedicated towards computer builds mainly. And I just sort of talk about my situation and what have you, so you get a bit more of an understanding. Some of the comments have been a little bit negative recently. Most of them have been positive. I'd say 95% of my comments that I get on my videos are very positive, and that's great to see. And I'll go through some of the positive comments that I've liked as well. But yes, in my recent video, there has been one or two comments which I've been, I wouldn't say unhappy with, but I've just been a little bit, I wouldn't say annoyed, but again just a little bit miffed at, and I just felt like I kind of need to address it in this video, because some of them have been a little bit negative towards me. But I understand, I'm starting to get to a bigger audience now, and obviously with a bigger audience and more people coming along, you are going to get criticism on the way. And I'm a grown man and I can take that criticism. Yeah, so as long as that criticism is constructive in a way and actually is something that I could potentially fix and maybe make better videos for you guys, then that's fine. But when it's a kind of a direct sort of insult, then that's when I kind of draw the line. I'm not happy about that. But I mean, to be fair, there hasn't really been anything absolutely directly at me recently. But anyway, let's just sort of go through these comments, and I'll put them on screen, obviously. And I've got my laptop here, so we'll go through them now. So the first one, which I was a little bit sort of miffed at, is by Zan9666 or XAN. Let's build a PC that's worse than a console. Now, okay, fair enough. You could probably say that my last video on the £175 gaming PC was probably worse than a console in terms of a PS5 or a modern console like the latest Xbox as well. But personally, I think, again, £175 is not a lot of money, and there's a certain limit of what you can expect for that money, isn't there? And I really do think that we maximised the budget personally, and I do think we actually got very good results from our very small budget. So I personally was happy with it. Plus, also, you've got to think that a console is literally just a games console, and you just play video games. And okay, yes, there is maybe some other features with it. There's maybe you could watch YouTube on it now, and it is starting to get a little bit more like a computer, I guess, the consoles now, which is something. But again, a computer is a computer, and you can do so much with it. So a PC, like I say, you can play we can play computer games, obviously, but mainly you can do your homework on it, or you can do like Office and Word, Word and Excel tasks on it if you're, working from home or something like that as well, or your homework if you're a school kid. You can obviously do video editing or photo editing, so you can produce YouTube videos and make all your photos nice and look good and add effects and what have you. So much other software as well that you can install and actually use for your PC. And there's so much more than just having a gaming PC. It can be used so much more, and especially if you're a child and you brought a gaming PC, and obviously your parents want you to obviously sort of do your homework and what have you on it as well. You kind of got you've got both sides covered there. Where obviously games console, you obviously can't do your homework on as well. So convincing your mum and dad to actually go over and spend that money on games console might be harder. So I do think there's a lot of positives with a PC over a console personally. And yes, if you want the performance for a very good price, a console is a very good choice, because for say like the PS5 right now, which is 350 odd quid, I would say personally that yes, that is a very good value in terms of what you actually get in terms of gaming performance for your £350, because you could argue that building a PC for £350 is probably only just about going to get you the same sort of performance, so, or maybe even slightly less. So yes, I admit that the PC that I did in the last video, yes, it is going to be weaker than a modern console. It's probably not going to be weaker than a PS4. It's still more powerful than the PS4 that PC I did. But yeah, anyway, let's move on from that because again, a little bit of a negative comment, and then there is a second one. So this is by Aggie, or Aegie, and they've said, I mean no offense, but does it even make sense to build this type of PC? Smiley face. 150 to £200. I understand the casuals and budget gamers, but yeah, and I get that. You know, I admit myself that, you know, for that sort of price, you kind of, if I was building it for myself, I wouldn't pay that. Obviously, I would obviously go to at least 300 or something and actually get some more modern components in there and maybe a slightly better graphics card and what have you. But this is the thing, is that I'm selling it to the general public, and the general public generally, certainly nowadays in the UK, there's a cost of living crisis going on. So with this cost of living crisis, obviously prices are slashed now on computer components because it is a luxury purchase, really. Let's be honest. You know, you don't have to, well, you kind of do need some kind of connection to technology nowadays, but an actual gaming PC you don't have to get. You don't need that. So yeah, when I obviously go to sell on these PCs, I need to make them as cheap as possible to obviously then sell them on for, you know, a small little markup and a small little profit, but not actually going to cost the people too much. Round about 250 to maybe £300 is where I aim for most sort of casual gaming PCs. Now, I do want to kind of get into that sort of higher market, and maybe not high market, but maybe get into like the 250 to £300 PCs that I'm building to maybe sell for 400 to 500 sort of area. But again, I find once you're starting to get up into those higher numbers, certainly the 400 and 500, people are less willing to sort of part with their cash, obviously, at that sort of point. And also, more and more people, as you go up the sort of ladder in terms of the tier of your PC, more and more people are going to know more and more about the components, and this is where you could obviously get issues with people saying, you know, I can get that a lot cheaper, or that specification, you know, isn't quite as good for the money, and you can get all sorts of things where people kind of say a bit more than they you know, and you can get some kind of comments and stuff where if you do aim it at the lower budget end, you kind of avoid that a little bit because it's just a cheap PC, and you know, no one really will say too much about that. And also, when you're going up higher and higher in terms of your selling price, people expect more and more as well. So you're probably going to have to give even more support than you do for a cheaper PC if something was to go wrong. And also, people probably want some kind of warranty or some kind of insurance that they're going to at least have that PC for at least 6 months to a year with basically trouble free. So there's more sort of things as you go higher up that people expect now as well. So, you know, and obviously I'm only just a one-man band, and I can't really offer everything like a small business can, because a small business has more resources in that sense. But yeah, like I say, I don't mind comments like this, and to be fair, he said it fairly respectfully, so I don't mind that sort of comment. The first comment was a little bit funny, but we won't dwell on it too much. Another person is another comment that we've got is Dino Bites. Play games on it live, not recorded with software, and do it facing the screen while recording. Now, this is something I have been thinking about, and I might actually do that for future videos. It might be better, actually. It might be actually better recording the screen. I'm sorry if there's any noise outside, but we'll just have to keep going on with it. We might actually better record the screen, and actually I'll talk through it as I go along and actually play the game. That might be a bit better as an actual video for you guys, I think, rather than just putting on the sort of benchmarks and what have you, the sort of the canned benchmark sort of videos, because obviously they're probably not too interesting, and yeah, it just makes, I think it probably would make a bit better video, so I might actually do that. I think I might actually go with that. Now we'll go on to the more positive comments on that video. Basically, one guy, you know, you basically know who you are on this one, but you know, you've commented basically on every single video that I've done for a good couple of months now, and I really appreciate that. So thanks very much, mate. So it's Bulldog Boy 100. And he says, after being away from having an interest in the latest PC componentry for a very, very long time, I must admit I'm more familiar with AMD side of things, so Intel is completely foreign to me now. Perhaps I'll get more of an understanding from watching your videos, which I always enjoy, about what I've missed in the Blue brand world. So again, really thanks so much, mate, for commenting and supporting the channel, because it does mean a lot to me. So thanks for that, and yes, I hope you do sort of learn a little bit more about the Intel side, because even myself, I'm a little bit rusty on the Intel side. AMD has been the big sort of with Ryzen, obviously it's been the dominant CPU, so I've kind of learned a little bit more that side. But I know the sort of older Intel sides, like the 3rd gen and 4th gen, where I'm kind of a little bit weak on is like the 6th gen up to about the 9th gen or 10th gen. I'm a little bit weak on that sort of side in terms of the knowledge. But overall, I am going to probably try and do a few more Intel builds, because generally I find Intel, the lower end Intel stuff, is actually very cheap now, and it actually is still holding up quite well. Even 4th gen i7s, you can actually run a decent graphics card still with that. Probably something like a 1080 or even a 1080 Ti potentially you could run even with 4790K, so, or 4790. So actually, there's still life left in these older processors. So like I say, if people want to hang around in this channel, and you'll learn more, and I want people to come along, and I want more people to come along and actually grow this channel. But I want it to be a positive community as well, and I think that's the big takeaway that I would say. This has to be a positive community on this channel, because that's I want to give positivity out to the world, and hopefully if I can get that back, then that'd be great. Again, it's the internet, and I'm a grown man, and I can accept a little bit of criticism here and there, but if we can keep it positive, that'd be great. And then another great supporter of the channel, which is Alex Huztech. He actually does a really great YouTube channel as well, so go and check him out, because he's doing some great content for PC flipping. If you are a PC flipper in the UK, I'd certainly go and check him out, because he's got some good stuff there. So he's put here on the case, it was the Gamdius Aura GC7 case that we did in the last video. He said, nice, I struggled with cable management on this one of the worst cases I built in. Which again, he's built in a lot of cases, so I certainly agree with him. That's the worst case that I've ever cable managed, by quite a way. It was very bad. There was just no room, and I don't know why Gamdius made that decision to really give you absolutely no room at the back. It's just a very poor decision. But at least doing these videos and these YouTube videos, you guys see that, and these are the things that I wish manufacturers would do themselves. So actually, kind of, obviously they don't want to expose their own products to be bad, and I understand that, but obviously they need to take on the criticism that us little YouTubers are giving them, so they can actually build better products. Because at the end of the day, I'm here for the consumer, and I'm not here for, well, to a certain degree I'm here to promote manufacturers as well, to a certain degree, but I'm not here to promote bad products at all. And if you do put a bad product, and I do find a bad product, I am going to say it's a bad product. I'm not gonna wash over it and say, oh, it's all great, and go buy it. And that's not me. I'm going to be honest with you guys. If I like it, it's a thumbs up, great, everyone's happy. If I don't, you'll hear about it as well. And I think that being that transparent and honest is the best way to go. I don't like with some YouTubers nowadays who are kind of going down the very sort of heavily sponsored route, and a little bit selling out, if I'm honest. But it's their choice, and it's their channel, and whatever they do is up to them. And to be fair, everyone's got to make their money, and there's obviously, they've got staff and what have you as well on their channel, so they can't muck around really. They can't so muck around like I can, because this really isn't my income at all, so I've kind of got a little bit more leeway in that sense. But yeah, I think that's really the comments I wanted to talk about really. There's probably a few more I could go through, but I think we'll leave it there, and we'll just have a little update on my sort of personal life now. So yeah, some people might not be interested in this, but if you are, you can stay on. So basically, it was about March where I lost my full-time job in IT. I did like it, but I just didn't get on with the boss basically, and well, you kind of know probably where it went. So I basically got fired, basically. But yeah, let's leave it at that. So yeah, I was in a bad position financially, and to be honest, I kind of still am, if I'm really being honest with you guys. But we did get a job after I got fired there, but basically there's been kind of some complications where initially they gave me a contract which was part time. It's basically like a little it's a shoe shop, a shoe shop. I can't speak today. It's a shoe shop, but quite a big sort of chain. But basically, yeah, when I first started, they said it was going to be a part time contract, and I was okay with that. And they did say they will try and give me as many hours as they can. It was about, I think they guaranteed me 16 hours, but they said it was probably going to be about 25 to 30 hours that I would get, which was fine, and I could obviously sustain myself with living on my own at that time. But basically, as things have gone along, they've unfortunately the trade has just really dropped, and they're basically going to give up the shop in September because they're not going to renew the lease, which is a big kind of downer for me because obviously they've given me less hours now. They've put me down to about 20 hours or so, which is okay, and I respect that. And they have to do what they have to do. It's a tough world out there at the moment, and at the moment, at least some income is income at the end of the day. So we're having to do less hours than we want to. We were getting about sort of 25 to 30, like I said, and that was just about holding us in, just about holding us over as we went week to week. But basically, what's happened is I've had to move in with my parents again because the amount of hours I'm getting just aren't. I'm just not covering. I'm just about. Well, I was just about covering the rent, but basically with food and everything, it was all just starting to get a bit much in terms of I was having to dig into my savings quite a lot, and to be honest, it just wasn't manageable, and I could see that things weren't going to go too forward. I have been applying for other jobs to obviously get a full time job. Again, it's just been really difficult recently. I still feel like there's a massive downturn in the economy, and it's difficult because I do have a lot of skills and I have a degree behind me and I have a lot of IT skills and what have you, but if I can't obviously find an employer to be able to utilise those skills, then I'm not going to be able to make money, unfortunately. So it is what it is in that sense. I mean, you just have to kind of roll with it and make the best of it and just try and get some money in and just try and keep building up your life. And I've had to start again now by going back to my parents. I won't tell you how old I am, but probably most people would say I'm too old to be living with parents. But that's that's the society thing, and I'm not really going to be concerned about that. Society has its own sort of views on what people should do and what have you, but it's everyone's life, and it's everyone's choice is what they do. At the end of the day, I think right now, if I'm being honest, it's about survival, really. Let's be honest. Like, I'm not really that bothered what people say and what have you. It's one of those things where maybe you look on social media and see other people doing other things like getting married and what have you, and I'm not really too bothered about that. It is what it is, and it's their choice. And if they want to take on more financial burden in their life and potentially have kids and what have you, then that's fair play. And it's all I totally wish them the best of luck. But obviously, where I am currently, that's totally not going to happen. But overall, I still think we are building this channel, and I am happy with the progress that we've had. We have, like I say, there has been some more people coming onto the channel now, and I think it will build slowly, but it is just going to be a very slow process, obviously, guys. And this is my long-term sort of plan for this channel. I'm certainly thinking about. I'm hoping within 5 years I can turn this into full-time income, but we'll see. This is just a long-term plan that I'm going to have to keep going with. And hopefully something comes up in the job situation which will be better for me. Like I say, the shop's closing in September anyway, or end of September or something. We're not exactly sure exactly. So I've still got a few more months before I have to get another job, and the part-time job with living with my parents does mean that I've kind of got a little bit more sort of breathing room in that sense. Um, you know, my parents are obviously, they are going to start charging me rent, but it's going to be quite quite low compared to what I was paying at my previous place. So um, yeah, I mean, I think overall we've just got to keep building basically, and we're going to keep showing PC flips here. So we're going to keep doing cheap PCs, probably around the £200 to £250 mark. I'm still waiting on that PC to sell, which is just down there. Um, Hopefully, if that PC does sell and we get £300 for it, or somewhere around there, maybe 250. Obviously, then we can buy more components. I was thinking there was actually some components going to come down this week, but they haven't come down. So we'll have to do that next week when those come down. And really, we just got to keep trying to do what we can to try and bring in some money, basically. So that's kind of my life situation where it is now. I mean, at least I am still in a job where I am still working, and you know there is some money coming in. So that's all you can say really at the moment. It's not it's not anywhere where I thought I would be at this age, but it is what it is at the moment. This is reality. This is my real life, and I've got to just keep trucking on with it and just keep moving forward. We don't have any choice, do we, guys? You know, we've just got to keep going forward and keep making the best out of life that we can, because you know we get one chance here, and you know that's you know it's one roll of the dice, and just give it your best shot, I say. So yeah, I mean, I hope I am, you know, I hope I am trying to give some positivity onto this channel, and I do really appreciate that 95% of people have been really great, and there has only been a few outliers who've been a little bit negative on my videos, but even them I don't really mind too much, as long as they're not really saying anything insulting, which no one has really. Then I'm okay with it. There's always going to be the odd people who are going to be, you know, a bit funny with things, but I'm not too bothered about that. That comes with the territory of being online and exposing yourself on, you know, to the online world. But anyway, I've waffled on way too much again, as you guys normally know I do. So yeah, please like the video for the algorithm. Please comment on what you think, and I always, you know, really appreciate you guys commenting, because that really helps out my channel as well. And I do think things are building, certainly in the direction. I'm all green arrows in terms of my views and in terms of the amount of watch time and what have you. So everything is going in the right direction, guys, and we've got to stay as positive as we can during this time. So we just got to ride out this wave, and I think good things will come. You know, it's just going to take time. So again, thanks for your support, guys, and as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.